Flowers, spring flowers. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Board of Health meeting, September 9th, 2024. Please note this meeting is being recorded and will be available shortly hereafter for scheduled and on-demand viewing on any smartphone or tablet device. If anyone else is recording this meeting, please notify the chairman. Pursuant to Governor Healy's March 29th, 2023 signing of the Acts of 2023 extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state emergency, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law until March 31st, 2025, this meeting of the Chatham Board of Health is being conducted in person and via remote participation. Every effort will be made to ensure the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that anyone who would like to listen to the meeting while in progress may do so by calling 1-508-945-4410, conference ID 887-935-510#, or join the meeting online via Microsoft Teams through the link in the posted agenda. While this is a live broadcast and simulcast on Chatham TV Channel 8 and 1072, despite our best efforts, we may not be able to provide real-time access. We will post a record of this meeting on the town's website as soon as possible. I'll turn the meeting over to our chairman, Dr. Noble Hanson.
Thank you. It shall be the policy of this board to conduct its meetings under the open meetings laws so as to encourage public participation whenever time permits and as part of agenda item discussions. So today we have five items on the agenda, but first let's establish a quorum, and as I call your name, please say present. John Beckley.
Present.
Ron Broman. Present. Dick Edwards.
Present.
And Noble Hanson, I'm here. Okay, first on the agenda is a request for exemption from the real estate inspection regulations for Mark and Katie Thoreau, 693 Orleans Road, Attorney Litchfield representing.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Bill Litchfield on behalf of the applicants in regard to 693 Orleans Road. It is an approximately 2-acre site, which well, I don't know, but it may have a cesspool. It's almost certainly not been upgraded in many, many years. My clients have retained Clark Engineering, who has done a preliminary plan. Perk tests are done this week. The existing structure, which has not been lived in for some time, as I understand it, is proposed to be demolished. And instead of putting in a septic system that might be in the wrong place, we simply decided to request of you a waiver from the regulation. Judy has with her a letter from Clark Engineering and also a preliminary site plan with a septic location suggested, but with 80,000 square feet, almost 60,000 square feet, which is buildable upland, plenty of room. Time frame, we probably wouldn't be constructing the new house until a year from now. But the existing house, as I said, has not been lived in, and we would execute wouldn't be a covenant because there's anything to record, but we can assure you that no one will be living there.
Okay, so Judy has proposed 1 year for the, and then if you can't do it in a year, you just come back for an extension.
By that time, we would, if I may, Mr. Chairman, by that time, I would suspect that the plan will have been submitted to the Board of Health for review. The actual construction won't occur for a year, but a year would be fine. If there's any delay, we would be back to you.
Right, so the proposal is for demolition of the current property, and then there'd be a new septic system being installed, and then plans would go through Judy at that time.
Correct.
Let me ask you, so just, it seems pretty straightforward from my standpoint, but just for me, we grant the variance to the owner. So you're the buyer coming in. How do we all know that the owner is all in on all this?
The letter that Judy has, I believe, was submitted by me on behalf of, or email, I don't recall. Attorney Kathleen Kilkenny represents the current owner.
Right. So it was, yeah, a copy sent to the attorney for the.
If she didn't sign it, she was copied on it and is very much aware of it.
Right. Okay. Is that sufficient, Judy? I mean, that's how it works?
Yeah, that's usually kind of what we've done in the past, and if something happened, if the sale fell through, then we could take another look at it, but,
Yeah, if I could, if my clients don't buy it, then the seller will still be obliged to come before you for either an inspection or a waiver for the next buyer.
Okay, open up to the board for questions or comments?
So the house is currently unoccupied,
Correct.
correct? And will not be occupied in the future?
Not, from my knowledge of that house, no.
I would agree.
I don't have any questions.
Is the water still on, or?
I honestly don't know the answer to that. We did receive incidentally, a waiver from the fire department of the smoke detector inspection requirement, again, based on the fact that the house will not be lived in.
So Judy, when they apply for the putting in the new septic, then you dictate what happens to the old septic in terms of pumping it and all that stuff?
Oh, yeah, that's part of the septic plan. They abandoned the old one and, you know.
Okay, if there's no other questions or comments, anyone from the public have a comment? Hearing none, can I get a motion?
So I would move that we grant the variance to not have to do the real estate inspection.
And a second?
I'll second that.
And that will be for a year from this date, or the date of transfer.
Okay, and I think we can take a voice vote on this. All in favor of the variance for 693 Orleans Road, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Okay, so that variance is granted.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and then second on the agenda is request for exemption from the real estate inspection regulations for Francis and Christiana Fabrizio, 189 Moonpenny Lane, Attorney James Norcross and Attorney William Litchfield representing.
Good afternoon. Jamie Norcross representing the Fabianos. They are the purchasers for the property. Very repetitive to Mr. Litchfield's presentation, but my folks are closing on the property a week from today. They've engaged Clark Engineering for the septic design. They're going to be doing perk tests on the 17th. Robert Hour's been hired to install the system once it's designed. This property, different from the Orleans Road property that Mr. Litchfield just referenced, it has been used by the seller. My clients, very sporadic use over the next few months, if any, is what they envision for the property. It does have a cesspool, which we are told is functioning. And so I think we're looking at a 6-month time period for them to have their plans for the new septic system.
And so the house will remain.
Oh, well, that's part of that. We may be back in the future, to be candid with you. They're not sure the extent of the changes yet. If they are more changes than expected, then we would be back prior to 6 months asking for more time. And if it's extensive changes, the house won't be occupied during that time period of the work. Their architect has just been hired somewhat recently, so hasn't had time to go through the property yet to determine next steps on that.
Because one of Judy's conditions is the property to remain vacant until new system is installed, so that's,
Okay, no, they can, yeah, they'd mentioned coming down around the holidays, maybe for a few days, but I don't think that's really a deal breaker for them, so if that's a condition.
I mean, that's not in stone. I didn't realize
Yeah.
that they were gonna be planning on using, if the cesspool's operating and they are gonna continue to move forward with the plans to upgrade, I don't see why they can't continue with the use of the system.
Do you need a report to that effect from an inspector asserting that it's in function and?
Did Robert Hour do a cursory inspection of it or
So
something?
I couldn't say it was Robert Hour.
Oh, I'm
Somebody
sorry.
did a cursory inspection. I'm not sure who that was.
Okay.
Again, it's not, for them, they just mentioned when I spoke to him earlier, he just said, well, we might come down for a few days around the holidays. Their main use is the summertime, so if it's again, a prohibition, that's not a huge deal for them.
yeah, because I think if,
To the board.
to me, just my
Concern for the
opinion,
board.
if we're giving a variance to the inspection, but somebody's moving in the house, that would be sort of an
Yes.
unusual situation, so, but granting that without the house being occupied
Yep.
would be pretty standard for us, I
Sure,
think.
that's fine. That's
Okay.
okay, yeah. I'll explain that to them.
Other questions from the board, or?
No.
So this is within 6 months?
Yes, and you may see us back if plans
Okay,
change,
yep.
but,
Nothing from the board. Any
These conditions, yep.
questions from the public? Okay, and Judy, could you read the conditions?
The new septic is to be installed within 6 months from the date of transfer, or the owners must return to the Board of Health for an extension of the variance. Property to remain vacant until the new system is installed.
Okay, thank you. And I think we can probably can I get a motion for this?
I move that we exempt the real estate inspection for 6 months.
And,
Second.
okay. And I think we can take a voice vote on this. All in favor of the variance for 189 Moonpenny Lane, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Okay, hearing none, that variance for 189 Moonpenny Lane is granted.
thank you very much.
Okay, great. We didn't do this on the first one. Is that okay?
I mentioned it at the end.
Okay, the third on our agenda is a variance hearing and approval of IA Technology for Peter and Teresa Cohen, parcel K05 Portview Road, TS Land Surveying, Thomas Stello, presenting the case for the variance. And do we have someone from,
Sue, are you going to present it, or is Tom going to be here?
No, Tom's not unable to be here today, so I'll be presenting.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
yes?
Okay, great. Susan Ledoux from Eastward Company on behalf of Peter and Teresa Cohen. I'm just going to go through the items that we submitted to the board. We did submit a completed and signed variance application, the site and sewage disposal system plan, proposed floor plans, nitrogen loading calculations, a butter list, and a notification letter and certified mailing receipts. And if you take a look at the letter that I submitted, the existing conditions, the subject lot is a 15,960 square foot lot with 80 feet of frontage, and it was created in 1975 with the subdivision plan. And we are proposing a 3-bedroom home in this lot, and it's similar to other homes in the neighborhood. About 24 nearby homes in Portview on Portview Road have 3 bedrooms. So we're proposing to construct a 3-bedroom home, and the septic system, because of its size, the lot, it would only accommodate a standard 2-bedroom Title V septic system under the Board of Health's current regulations. And the site and septic plan proposes the installation of a 1,500-gallon septic tank utilizing the microfast IA DEP-approved nitrogen-reducing technology to allow for the 3 bedrooms while decreasing the nitrogen or nutrient load of the flow from the wastewater. The accompanying nitrogen loading calculations included in the packet demonstrate the environmental benefit of using the microfast system for 3 bedrooms versus the standard Title V system for 2 bedrooms. And although the lot on 0 Portview, or what we're requesting as 99 Portview Road, is allowed 2 bedrooms per the current Board of Health nitrogen loading regulation, we believe that the Board of Health can grant the requested variance from Section 5.1 procedures, which requires that a sewage disposal system shall be designed to receive 440 gallons per day or less per 40,000 square feet of lot area, and pursuant to the requirements of Section 6 of the board's regulations to allow for the IA system an additional 3rd bedroom based on the following. A 2-bedroom standard Title V septic system designed under the current Board of Health regulations will have a mean nitrogen load of 10.379 parts per million. The proposed 3-bedroom septic system utilizing the microfast IA technology will have a mean nitrogen load of 9.557 parts per million, or 0.822 parts per million less than the 2-bedroom system. An additional 110 gallons per day can easily be handled on this lot with the use of an IA nutrient-reducing technology in conjunction with the on-site subsurface sewage disposal system, as demonstrated in the nitrogen loading calculations. The majority of the existing homes on Portview Road have 3 bedrooms each, and the proposed home will be comparable with the proposed 3 bedrooms on a similarly sized lot to the others on the street. A literal enforcement of the provisions of the regulations could potentially involve substantial hardship, financial or otherwise, to the applicant as the proposed third bedroom is generally consistent with the majority of other homes in the neighborhood and creates enhanced value for the applicant's property. The nitrogen loading calculations also demonstrate to the board that the discharge of the effluent from the proposed septic system will offer the same or better level of protection to the ground or surface water resource as would be provided by the strict application of this regulation. The proposed 1,500-gallon septic tank, soil absorption system, and designated reserve area will meet the Board of Health's regulations for setbacks. The proposed system will have little to no impact on present or future private or public drinking water wells, watershed, or wetlands, and the depth to groundwater, soil conditions, and or topography of the site where the system is proposed are suitable for the proposed system. And I believe Peter Cohen's on the line, the owner of the lot, and also Don Poyant from Eastward is available if you have questions. Thank you.
Dick?
I'm looking at the plans, and I see a guest bedroom on the first floor and a primary bedroom on the second floor. Is the office the third bedroom?
We are considering that the third bedroom,
So that's
yes.
the third bedroom. And the area under the other 2 dormers on the second floor doesn't look like there's any access to that area. That's just attic space?
It's actually a cathedral or a vaulted ceiling over the living room space.
Oh, okay.
It's open.
Okay. So the
Yeah.
third bedroom is the office, and there's nothing in the basement, it's just open space.
Yes.
Okay, other questions or comments from the board? All right, it's pretty straightforward with our rules. 15,960 square foot lot, 2 bedrooms by right. We can grant a third bedroom if they go from Title V to IA technology septic system. So no comments from the board. Then any comments from the public? Yeah? Yes. Yeah.
Yes, hi, my name is Pamela Miller. I live on 29 Taylor's Pond Road, which is the property directly below the proposed house to be built. And I just had a quick question. Where is the septic system going to be installed? In the front of the house or the back of the house?
It's in the back of the house.
The back of the house?
This is the street.
And then we have,
Okay, so that's
The
right there.
back half of the lot.
can you identify yourself up at the podium?
I'm sorry, my name is Donald Poyant, I'm the president of Eastwood Companies.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the house and this is the proposed.
Right.
All right, so that's our house, this is right down there.
Yes, it's
So it's on the north side of the property.
correct.
And what home did you say you were at?
Below 29 Taylor's Pond?
Oh, below.
Yes, below the,
All right, so the,
To the north.
Yeah, we tried to leave this
Yeah.
vegetated.
So directly to the
We're trying
north.
to always make trees if
Yes.
we can, so
Yeah.
we're just clearing
Yeah,
the
to
edges.
okay, I was just wondering where you're gonna put the
Right.
septic. Okay,
So it's gonna be up in here.
okay, great, thank you.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry,
no
there is-
variances for the offsets.
There's another, there's someone online, Al Viedas. Did you want to make a comment? You can go ahead. You're muted.
So do we have input from someone from the public?
I think he's trying.
Well, that's my husband.
Oh,
I'm really hoping he could do this because he understands it better, but
You're going to have to go up to the
you're
podium.
going up to the microphone if you're going to say something for us, for the record?
if he can't get it.
I think he did this on purpose.
Yeah.
He knows how much I hate this. Okay. My name is Valerie Vitus. My husband and I own the house at 93 Port View, right next door. Al has spoken with both Peter, someone at Eastward, and septic designer Tom Stella, because we, after having consulted an environmental engineer, were a little concerned about the placement of the septic system because it is fairly close to our property line. We have a bedroom right very close, another bedroom there, our outdoor shower's there, our deck is there. And the environmental attorney, excuse me, he isn't also an attorney, and the engineer said that vent pipe and motor, which emits a noise, it could be a problem, could be an issue. So they've spoken with Tom Stella and Peter Cohen, and they talked about moving the vent pipe and the motor to the other side of the property instead of our property line, the other side, but we haven't been able to confirm that that is what's being done. So I don't know if Peter can hear me because Al hasn't been able to get a hold of Tom Stella today, and I know we tried Susan at Eastward, which, by the way, built our house, very happy. We have no problem with the third bedroom. It's just the placement of the sewer if there is any issues with odor or noise.
Again, Don Poyon from Eastwood Companies. I'm
Yes, okay.
President of Eastwood Companies. Our preference is to leave the components where they are as shown on the filing. We believe, from firsthand experience, I personally have a fast system at my home, that the noise from the blower, we want to put the blower below grade, so that we'll be below grade, which will mute the noise from the blower. And you really can't hear it unless you're a couple of feet from the blower. And similarly, the concern about smell, as long as the system's properly maintained, the Cohens are year-round, are going to be using this on a year-round basis. It will be used on a regular basis. It's not going to be a seasonal home. These are two young professionals that are going to be living in our community. And we think that this location, part of what we're trying to do is make sure that we don't have to move things in the future if the Cohens or anybody else wants to do a pool or anything like that. By running the components across the property, it's going to add cost and it's going to complicate things in the future. So we think that the proposed plan meets the requirements, and we'd like to request that the board approve it as presented.
So you're saying that it can't be moved because of the possibility of building a pool in the future? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, we're talking about this right here, the vent and
That's
the
the vent.
blower.
It's just the vent and the blower that we're talking about, that they
Right, but moving the whole system is not necessary because you say there's no noise and the vent doesn't emit odors.
Correct. That's from my personal experience at my property, yes.
Right. And Judy, what about from what I know, but you know better, if it's functioning properly, you don't get odors from the vent.
No, a small system like this, we've had really no complaints over the last 10 or 15 years that we've been putting these in quite regularly. The only time I've ever had complaints has been in very, very large systems that are shut down and then started back up when they, take a few weeks to kind of process and work properly. But a system like this, a small, and did you say you were going to put the blower underground?
Yes.
So that will basically eliminate any sound, and there's minimal sound that comes out of them as well. So I don't foresee any issues with odor or sound on this.
Can I ask, on this plot, it looks like the blower's about 15 and a half feet from the property line. And it looks, it's roughly the same distance from the unit, from the microfast unit. Does it have to be that far away from the microfast unit, the blower and the vent?
I would actually propose to move the blower and the vent pipe closer to the house, closer to the Cohen's house. I think it will allow for the landscaping component of it to work better. And it would be a little bit further away from the property line, but closer to their house. Again, I'd hate to be bringing up my personal experience, but my blower and my vent are 8 feet away from my house. I have a finished lower level. I have my master bedroom above it. I have another bedroom above that. We've obviously opened the windows and never had any issues with noise or smell or anything like that. So it can go closer to the house and function fine. And again, I think it will work better with the landscaping of the property.
So now it's 15 feet from the lot line. If you move it closer to the house, approximately how far would it be from the lot line?
I'm going to guess it would be rough, I'm just guesstimating, but around 25 feet.
25 feet?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
It's not unusual for them to move those around at the time of installation to, once they get out on the site and they start putting things in, they'll,
so is that something you're willing to do? For the-
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I
Okay.
think that they might wind up being a retaining wall on that side elevation, and if there is a retaining
Okay.
wall, I'd probably tuck it behind that retaining wall. So again, there would be no visibility from the Vitus's property, and it would be additionally screened from their property to the extent that there would be the vent stack sticking up.
Okay, that sounds like a good faith effort. Other questions or comments?
I see Mr. Vadas' hand is still up. I don't know if he's still trying to talk.
He's the one who would have questions. I'm kind of the conduit, and his undergrad is engineering, so when people talk to him, he understands it. I'm like, you have to write it down for me and send me something to read.
So the motor will be underground, which is important.
Okay,
Correct.
And then
because
my-
the environmental engineer had said blower motor does make noise, motor is within a small enclosure may be insulated to dampen noise, so that sounds good. Operates 24/7, vent exhaust, septic gas, no charcoal filter permitted per microfast, so will
know if that
will
was
have an odor, will be constant, I'm sorry, grammar there. They're very popular, D-night systems, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I would suggest blower and vent be located in the center of yard, which sounds like you're doing, so I'm hoping I'm right that this sounds good.
So Judy, can you address again the odor problem with the vents in a microfast system? Is that?
No, we haven't had, as I said,
That's the majority of them in Chatham are microfast systems, as I.
we have not had any significant issues with them. And I thought you could put charcoal filters on them, so that's something I
I
would
don't
have
think
to.
you're supposed to put the charcoal filters, but again, personal experience, I mow
Yeah.
my own lawn, I go by the vent stacks on a weekly basis, and occasionally I'll get a minor whiff if I'm within 5 feet of it, but otherwise, there is no
Yeah.
smell to it whatsoever.
Okay, other questions or input from the public? Yes.
My name's Stephen Miller. I live on Taylor's Pond Road, 29. Come over here. My name's Stephen Miller. I live on 29 Taylor's Pond Road. My wife just asked a question. With that, we didn't receive the plans or any information about it except just to come here today, so I do apologize for that. My question is, how far from the property line is that motor going to be, and how far is that filter going to be? And it's a new system that Chatham's been using in a while, but is there a performance? I mean, we live on a pretty good hill, and in the past, I've had some problems with other things before I moved here, and what's to prevent the tank from failing and flooding my backyard? Because that's my biggest concern.
May I?
Yes.
So you can see on the plan, this is where the tank's going. It's quite a distance from
Okay.
the rear line. It also says proposed 40 mil vinyl flow barrier. So because of the topography on the lot, there's going to be a vinyl barrier on the backside of this, which is going to prevent anything, so that if there ever was some kind of failure, it would be contained by the vinyl.
Okay.
It's very sandy soil there, Dave, so even if something did back up, it would go straight down. It wouldn't, there'd be very little likelihood of that breaking out. And then, as Don said, they're putting in a flow barrier there. So I don't see that. there
Can you
would
just
be any
summarize
concern.
what you just said for the public?
I apologize. I was just going over the plan and just showing where, because, again, they're down gradient, the topography of the lot is fairly steep, and on the backside, the lower portion of the plan, it says a proposed 40 mil vinyl flow barrier, so that again, if there ever was a breakout situation, the vinyl barrier would prevent it from creating a problem for the millers.
And then the motor is just, is right with the
Yeah, the motor.
fast system.
Yeah, that would all be up from there.
So that's, yeah.
And I do have one other question, which I'm sure you can help. It's not a huge concern of ours, but is this going to affect the groundwater at all in, let's just say, in our area and in our neighbor's area?
I mean, this is a nitrogen reducing, it also increases it reduces the amount of bacteria and viruses and parasites, so it's a very environmentally sound system.
Okay.
Much better quality effluent than you're going to get out of a conventional septic system.
Okay. My concern is I do know there's some people in my neighborhood that do have wells.
Yeah, I don't, they should be showing any wells, I guess there is.
So there's a requirement to be a
There's a
certain
100-foot
distance from the well.
setback shown, so
So that's, yeah.
if there's any wells, they should be shown on this plan. I'm not seeing any, so we can double check that. Okay, so at Taylor's Pond, there, yeah, that's that 100-foot setback. It looks like it must be a basement well, because it's shown inside their foundation. And they're well over 100 feet.
Okay.
It says the well is located in the front per the homeowner on that
Does it?
37 Taylor's Pond. So the 100-foot arc, he's just showing that it's beyond that.
Yes, Mrs.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, yeah.
37 Taylor's Pond Road, she's good, the house that has the well.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's well over 100 feet away,
In the front.
which is the requirement by the town.
Okay, other comments or questions from the audience or the public or husbands?
Neighbors, wives?
It's going to be this microphone to work, so, sorry,
Okay.
Okay, all right. So any other questions from the board or comments from the board? And Judy can read the conditions for us?
Did you want to?
Well, one of the conditions when we add allow a third bedroom on this size lot going to IA is that we put a restriction, no short-term rentals. So that's understood by the property owner?
Yes, that's understood.
Yeah.
Again, it's a full-time residence for
Right,
them.
okay. And then Judy can go ahead and read the conditions. That will be one of them.
So the applicant should restrict the property to a maximum of 3 bedrooms and record the restriction on the deed at the Barnstable County Registry of Deeds with a copy of the executed deed submitted to us. The applicant shall sign a covenant with the board agreeing to comply at such time as the town of Chatham, through its Board of Health and/or Board of Water and Sewer Commissioners, directs the connection of this property to the municipal sewer when it becomes available. This covenant shall state the property may not be used as a short-term rental. This covenant and 3-bedroom deed restriction shall be recorded at the Barnstable County Registry of Deeds, and a copy of the executed covenant shall be submitted to the Health Division and Board of Health. Throughout the life of its system, the system shall be under an operation and maintenance agreement. This agreement shall be for at least 1 year and may be with any Mass certified operator of the appropriate grade that has received training by the company on the operation of the system. Effluent from the system shall be monitored at least twice per year for the first 2 years, preferably May and October. The effluent shall be field tested in accordance with the Mass DEP standard conditions for secondary treatment units certified for general use, revised March 20th, 2015. In addition, a lab test of the effluent for the total nitrogen to meet the performance standard of 19 milligrams per liter shall be collected and analyzed by a certified lab. Water meter readings are to be provided with the semi-annual report. If any of the field tests or lab tests fail, follow-up tests shall be conducted by a certified lab and evaluation by the operator within 30 days. After the required 2 years testing, the application can be made to the board or its agent for review and possible modification of the monitoring requirements. The applicant agrees to apply a minimum of 6 inches of compacted topsoil to all disturbed areas of the property. The engineer shall submit an engineered as-built plan, including as-built elevations with a written certification that the system has been installed in accordance with the approved plan. No alteration to the floor plan of the dwelling or the engineered site plan will be allowed without further review by the board or its agent. This variance is granted pursuant to the Town of Chatham subsurface sewage regulations and nitrogen loading regulations and is valid for 1 year from the date of the Board of Health approval. A permit must be issued and work commenced during that 1 year or the variance shall expire.
Okay, can I get a motion?
I have a question.
Do you need to go up to the mic?
Just make sure I understood everything correctly. No changes may be made to the plans, but what about moving the septic system to the center of the lot? Isn't that a change?
They're not moving the septic system. They're going to just move the blower and the
Oh, okay.
vent, and they can do that
Okay.
at the time of installation, so.
All right, thank you. Clarifies it for me.
Okay,
I'll move that we accept this variance with the proposals, the conditions that Judy just read.
and a second?
I'll second that.
And with the moving of the vent, as discussed. So I think we can take a voice vote on this. All in favor for the variance for K05 Portview Road, TS Land Surveying, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Okay, so that variance is granted for Peter and Teresa Cohen. Okay. All right, so next on our agenda is a show cause hearing for Connor Fitzgerald, 99 Main Street, regarding short-term rental occupancy. And is this Mr. Fitzgerald or Mr. Norcross?
Yes, good afternoon, Jamie Norcross representing Connor Fitzgerald, who is here with me today.
Yep.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, I kind of wanted to explain a couple of the items from the reason for Connor requesting the hearing today. One of the main reasons Connor did want to impress upon everyone that he is taking this very seriously. He understands the necessity of complying with the short-term rental restrictions. And so when he got the letter, he did want to take the opportunity to come in, let the board know that he understands the requirements need to be met and that he takes the requirements seriously. I think there's also a need or an ask for some clarification moving forward. So for next rental season, he's ensuring that he is in compliance with the short-term rental restrictions. So again, there's not the need for the town to become involved because there's issues and not needs for Connor to have to come to meetings like this. So I think a couple of the aspects that we had questions on, if I may, in terms of trying to get some clarification for next season would be helpful.
Okay, so you have questions on?
We did, yeah.
Yeah, and then Judy's here, and Karen Chimwaza, who were part of the whole process, so go ahead, we can
Sure. So
work on those.
as we understand it, it's a four-bedroom home, permitted four-bedroom home, and there was a deed restriction that was put on back in 2017. Prior owner had done some work to the property, to the main home, I believe, and to this barn pool house area. Connor bought the property in 2021. As you see from the filings, he does rent the property some of the time. The goal in the future is that's going to be full-time for him and his family, but he's not quite there yet. And so one point of clarification, in terms of the bedroom, so there were floor plans that were filed back in 2017 when they did the renovations from the prior owner, and it shows 4 bedrooms on the second floor and no bedrooms on the first floor, although there's one room labeled as a living room, which seemed like it may be constitute a bedroom under the definition. The plans that were used by Connor's rental company show a total of 5 bedrooms in the main house. So it shows 4 bedrooms upstairs and that living area downstairs as a 5th bedroom. And so I guess an initial question, again, for next year for clarification, so he ensures he's in compliance. In order to comply, is it, does Connor need to reclassify and reuse one of the 5 rooms as a bedroom? And if so, is he able to determine which of the 5 rooms are not going to be used as a bedroom for rental purposes, if that makes sense?
Right. Yeah, fair question. Go ahead, Dick.
When we look at these plans, there are 5 rooms in the main house that, according to our definition, are bedrooms, regardless of what they're called on the plan. And so in order to comply with that deed restriction, the property would have to be reconfigured in such a way that one of those rooms is no longer able to be used as a bedroom. And that means it can't have privacy. And that's usually the main consideration.
Right.
So one of these doors would have to be converted into a 6-foot cased opening without a door, so there's no privacy. Then you can call it a living room or an office or a study or a library, but it would otherwise, as it's configured now, regardless of what you call it, it's a 5-bedroom house.
So
and
this
then
is-
that pool house, you know, that in the pretty picky, you know, advertising is listed as a bedroom and shows I think there was a bed and a photograph of it.
Yep.
That can't be used as a bedroom.
So I guess another point of clarification then is Connor hasn't done any changes to the interior of the home in terms of structural changes. So what was there in 2020 when he purchased it is what's there now. So the floor plans that were submitted in 2017 when the renovations were approved, it's a hand drawing, so I guess it's difficult to determine if it's exactly the same. I guess we can't speak to whether or not the prior owner made changes between 2017 and 2021. I understand your point. I guess if it was considered a certain way back in 2017, then I'm not sure why it's different now.
I can show you,
Yeah, Judy,
this
go
is
ahead.
the floor plan that was submitted when the septic was put in. It shows 4 bedrooms on the 2nd floor, as Jamie said, and then there's a family room. It's a hand sketch, there's no door, you know, it's not very detailed, so this is what we used to accept. It was at the word of, this is a very old, it's an antique house.
Yep.
You know, the bed, the more detailed floor plan that I took offline is, shows there's 2 rooms. Not unusual for a home of that age to have a parlor-type room that wouldn't maybe traditionally have been considered a bedroom, but it's now being used as such. So, I mean, we deed restricted it to 4 bedrooms only because when the pool house was put in, we didn't want the pool house to be the 5th bedroom.
Right.
At the time, you bought it with the pool house as is that correct?
Yes.
So, I don't, you know, I mean, it should be, I mean, if we looked at this now, we would consider it a 5-bedroom house. But back then, we considered it 4. It's kind of a difficult situation.
Let me just, for a second, your initial question was, would he be free to alter any of the 5, what we're saying are 5 bedrooms in the house now, to modifying it so it would just be 4 bedrooms, that he could choose any bedroom to modify? Is that what?
That was
your
the second
initial
part of my
wasn't
question.
it?
Yeah, the first part was what needs to happen in order for there to be just 4
Right.
bedrooms, number 1. And then number 2, is he able to designate which of the rooms
Yeah.
are the bedrooms?
Well, I mean, I think,
Yeah.
from my standpoint, that would be, pretty clearly, yes.
Yes.
That would be
Yes.
fine.
Okay.
Separate question is what Judy was talking about, and that is that first floor family room, bedroom, which now, and we look at these pretty carefully, is clearly, would be considered a bedroom. And so it's come up with the short-term regulation and you know, problems with the occupancy and the number and all that. So it's a good question, but what's the situation?
I mean, I think as a short-term rental, if the board was acceptable to having them, you know, not use that family room, bedroom on the first floor as a bedroom, and then open it up, or just, you know, make it a family room. as,
You still have to change its configuration so that it's not lawfully counted eligible
Right.
to be a bedroom, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be the preference of the board
right,
that one of these rooms be designated as a non-bedroom, and the simplest thing possible to do that would be to just eliminate one of those doors and make it a cased opening.
Well, the other aspect we were looking at, there's that pass-through room on the second floor that has a door on each side,
Yeah.
which I think sometimes is not considered a bedroom and under, I mean,
Well, that would only be if there was no access to the other bedroom other than through that.
okay.
But there is because the stairs.
right.
Yeah, I guess, and I understand your point completely about the cased opening. It's just sort of hard where if he was just gonna sell the property tomorrow, for example, and the septic report came in showing this same configuration, is that gonna trigger an issue, or is it gonna say, well, it matches what was there in 2017, so then it passes as a 4-bedroom home?
I don't think so. That's a
Good question, that's a
It's a
question.
5-bedroom house
I mean,
with a 4-bedroom septic system.
we look at them nowadays, we didn't used to, but now we do
Yeah.
require floor plans, and we would certainly question it. If the Realtor was representing it as a 5-bedroom house, we would say, no, you can't do that, it's only approved for 4 bedrooms.
Right, right. And he's not, right now, I mean, again, he would, in a perfect world, he'd have 5 bedrooms, but he knows he can't have 5 bedrooms. So he's just trying to come to, find out a way to get to the 4-bedroom
Right.
designation.
Right, so I guess I'd ask the owner, does he envision that he can convert one of these bedrooms into what we would consider a non-bedroom? Like having a cased open from the living room into that room, so it's a family room and?
I haven't had a conversation with him about the cased opening for that particular room. That's something I'd have to talk to Connor about in terms of what, I mean, again, his goal is to get to a maximum 4-bedroom. He understands that's how he's, but also you want to get there with the least amount of intrusion to the property as possible, right? Because again, he didn't change anything. So from a fairness aspect, it sort of seems like, well, this is what he purchased.
Right.
It was called a certain thing when he bought it that way. And he's saying to the board today, I haven't changed anything, it's just, it's labeled differently.
Well, the contractor who built this is at fault for building a 5-bedroom house with a 4-bedroom septic system. And that's unfortunate. But if you wanted that bedroom at the top of the steps, the pass-through bedroom, to be eliminated, you just have to take that one door that goes to the top, to the steps, and make it a cased opening, and then you could use that as a study or a library or whatever. That would be an easy way to do it. And that wouldn't be very expensive.
Okay. Then a related question would be, not to muddy the waters even more, but if he were to want to envision using the pool house as a bedroom, then he would need to restrict the main house to 3 bedrooms. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then we would come back to the board and ask for the prohibition on that not to be used as a bedroom to be lifted? Is that necessary, or?
Yeah. You'd have to show
On the pool
a
house?
plan
Show it on the plan.
with
'cause it-
only 3 bedrooms, so 2 of these bedrooms have to be eliminated structurally, so they
Okay.
can't be called bedrooms.
Right, and
I
then,
think, I think your deed restriction just says the property is restricted to 4 bedrooms. I don't think it mentions the pool house.
yeah, I didn't see anything about the pool house in there.
But we would want the building inspector to make sure that if the pool house was going to be used as a bedroom, that it meets all the requirements for habitable space and egress, et cetera, which I think it does, but,
Yeah, I think so too. And it
Yeah.
has a mini split that was there when Connor bought the property, so it does
yeah,
have.
I mean, it did say it was supposed to be an unheated
Right.
space, so unfortunately, what, people can go in and get plumbing permits, and nobody reviews those, so those happen after the fact quite routinely, so.
But back in the process with the pool house, it was written that it was to be unheated and not used as a bedroom. That was specifically put in somewhere.
Right, so
That
the
was-
building department would have to go in and
So
approve
that's
it
pretty clear.
for what it is.
Right, so we would need to get that condition
Yeah.
removed as part of.
The other aspect is, so the short-term rental certificate you apply for, it says so many bedrooms, and then one could skirt around it by advertising it on the internet and sort of implying that it has more bedrooms, and that gets into a gray area, and we're just kind of working our way through the short-term regulation implementation, but that's another aspect of this that
Right.
came up.
Right,
from
yeah,
what I see.
there's 4 bedrooms, then you have 10-person occupancy, so it's kind of what's, I guess, considered.
Right, so on the website,
Yep,
it can't be buried someplace that, well, there's actually 6 bedrooms and you could fit a whole bunch more people in there. But
right, and Connor understands that, and
Yeah.
part of the, I think part of the issue there was the write-up, so to speak, for the rental was from the prior year before the restrictions carried over, and so there was some
Yeah.
confusion on that. What would,
Okay, so-
does he, I'm sorry to interrupt, does Connor need to provide plans for what he intends to do in terms of coming to a 4-bedroom, or is that
I think.
a site visit?
Yeah, we would want him to pull a building permit, and then with a plan showing what his proposal is, and then we would look at it.
Okay.
We would review the plan as well as the building inspector, and then the building inspector usually goes out and inspects those. But I think in this case, Karen and I would like to take a look at the house as well for the short-term rental process,
Sure, so next spring?
Yeah.
Okay.
so.
Right, but yeah, I was looking at the second floor, that small bedroom. I mean, somebody mentioned you could make it a pass-through room. You shut down 2 doors, open another door into the 12 by 12-foot bedroom, and then it would be a pass-through, and that's one of the,
Yep, understood. So the board would be looking for not just relabeling, so to speak, and reusing, it'd be physical modifications.
yeah, and then some plans for Judy.
Yep.
Okay. Other questions from the board? Other questions you need answered to, so what, it sounds like we're at the point where you would decide what you want to do, make some plans, submit them to Judy, and I don't know if you have to come back to the board again or just go through Judy and get it approved, but,
Building permit, is that what you said, a building?
Building permit, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that, if I recall, there was never a certificate of occupancy for the work that was done on the pool house to begin with, so that would be all part of the process,
Okay, so
So-
clean that up at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
And obviously, going forward, any advertising has to advertise it's a 4-bedroom.
Yep.
With a maximum occupancy of 10, including children.
Which
The 10 is really 2 adults per bedroom. And
They're not a half, is that what you're telling me?
No. A child is counted as a full person. So you can't have 12,
Yeah.
4 couples and each bring their kids.
Yeah.
That's not allowed.
Okay.
so Connor bought this and there have been no building changes inside. So we're ramping up the short-term rental, so it's a process of getting the whole thing working and an understanding of how it works. So
Yeah,
we'll have some of this give and take
sure.
as we implement it, so it's understandable.
No, I understand. There's a little bit of, I guess, confusion for everyone in terms of when these things get started, so.
I wouldn't be that harsh, but I think there's a process.
Well, on this end, I'm saying. On this end.
Yeah.
All right, any input from the public?
See none?
And anything else from the board, questions? Any more questions that you have?
This whole process was initiated by a complaint, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
That somebody complained about the occupancy.
Yep.
Well, that's good in terms of implementation of the short-term regulation, in my view, is that people are complaining and they know what to do and then things get worked out. So that's good, I think, overall, my own opinion. Okay, anything else?
Nope.
All right, great, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, good.
Okay.
Get your kids. Karen's jumping out. She's gonna go get her kids.
Okay.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate
Okay,
that this house, thinking it was a 6-bedroom.
let's move on to the next agenda item 5, and that's an update on EEE, Eastern Equine Encephalitis and West Nile virus, and it's been in the news, the EEE and spraying and case numbers, and so I thought it would be good to have Judy come in and just kind of give us a general perspective of what's going on there, so that people kind of understand, and the numbers are coming down and all, but I think she has a recent report from
I'm sure
Mass
everybody
Department of
has.
Public Health, I guess it is.
Yeah, everybody's, I've been sharing with the board, and I think you've been hearing on the news about Massachusetts having a kind of a big year for West Nile virus and triple E. And they did do some spraying in the Plymouth County, Plymouth and Middlesex County. I'm going to just put up a map here. I'm going to share my screen, hopefully it'll work. All right. There's my screen. So this is a map of Massachusetts. This particular map that I have up is the triple E risk map. As you can see, Cape Cod down here is in the remote to low range for triple E. If I scroll in, let's see, I can go. We have no human cases.
Good.
I won't, because there's no human cases, I'm gonna go back, hold on. No human cases of triple E on the Cape. So it's a very low risk right now, and I'm gonna scroll down. There were 3 cases, one in Worcester County, one in Plymouth County, and one in Middlesex County. This is the West Nile virus. Barnstable is this darker color. They're in a moderate risk area. We are in a low risk area. There have been some mosquitoes found on the Cape. What happens is the state goes out and tests wetland areas. They take mosquito samples from all over the state. Cape Cod Mosquito Control does that here on the Cape. And let me see if I can find, we've had, oh, no, I don't want to give you the whole state, so I'm going to see if I can, mosquitoes.
Now, when they do a sample of mosquitoes, there could be hundreds or thousands of mosquitoes in that sample, true? Do they take like a mosquito,
I don't know the process.
like a trap, a whole trap full, and they
Yeah.
analyze, they grind those up and analyze it, and they look for any positives?
Right, so they've
in
had
that sample.
302 positive mosquitoes and for West Nile and 91 for triple E.
Is that 91 samples were positive? Or not 91?
Individual mosquitoes is my understanding. Oh, thousands.
See, this,
I mean, it is kind of like finding a,
Right.
a needle in a
Well,
haystack.
there was one in Barnstable, a positive mosquito, but
Yeah.
what's the baseline, what's the context of this in previous summers? I mean, is this completely new that we haven't had before?
No,
Is this something that comes
from
and
my
goes, or-
understanding is from the epidemiologist, is this West Nile virus, these arboviruses, they kind of cycle. We have high years, and then like every 5 or 7 years, they drop down. We happen to be in a cycle of higher levels of them. And right now, we are at the time of year where you get the most activity. So that's why, we're seeing it, and we do have the concern. John, I'm not sure the actual process for identifying the individual mosquitoes, but they always say we found a mosquito with West Nile virus.
all right, because that's different.
That's printout, it says number of mosquito samples tested, 7,185.
That's in the whole state, yeah.
286 positive West Nile, 80 positive triple
Right,
E.
if you look on the second page of the handout, for Cape Cod, they've tested, well, it says specimens, so it's 661.
613.
Well, that's,
So that's like 1%,
this is different from
80
what
of
we used to do in New
71,
Jersey.
85.
They would keep.
So, but based on these epidemiological studies and reports, they're putting us at very low risk.
Okay, that's the
On the
important
Cape.
take.
That's the takeaway on this. They do still, recommend the usual precautions, avoiding dawn and dusk outside activities,
Yep.
wearing insect repellent,
Dawn and dusk.
remove standing water from your yards, small buckets, bird baths, et cetera. Just the common sense things to keep them from breeding. Some of these, I'm not sure if it's the West Nile species or the Tripoli particularly like small puddles as opposed to large bodies of water,
I
so.
remember getting a report years ago that they found larvae in bottle caps.
Yep.
Laying.
Yeah, so
A little
any,
bit of water, rainwater you're getting in a bottle cap, upside down bottle cap laying on the ground could support.
yeah, that's why we get crazy when we see, tires and
You can't,
buckets,
you
things
can't,
like that.
you can't take a tire and tip it to get rid of water in it. There's
Right.
nothing you can do once that tire gets water in it. The only thing that,
Drill holes in it, maybe.
well, drill holes in it or have a drought, when all the water dries up. But, yeah,
So.
little containers are
When they were-
notorious
When they were
gutters.
building the
Does this come
Panama
from your-
Canal, they were, the dormitories, they put potted plants outside the dormitories and watered them every day. And mosquitoes bred there and
Remember who
and
tried to build it
smallpox.
first? The French.
French.
The French retreated that project. They gave up on it because it was so dangerous from a communicable disease
You're
perspective.
talking about the Panama Canal now?
Yes, the French
Oh, God.
fled. They,
It was the little flower pots people wanted to brighten up their.
Well, that what
You
you're
can
talking
buy
about,
these-
standing water, that come from your experience in New Jersey or from prior on the board here?
no, it comes from my New Jersey experience, hearing people lecture,
Right.
hearing
I mean,
mosquito lecture.
if it's something you're interested in, our mosquito control person, Gabby Sakowski, is excellent and loves to talk about this, so I'd be happy to bring her in at some point, maybe next spring or.
It's really interesting, and
Yeah.
it does cycle.
And she can talk to you about the program and what the issues are and such.
We buy these little tablet things,
Yes.
that.
Larvicide, they throw.
And you throw it in because we have a dry well, a well, kind of a catch basin in our driveway, and there's always standing water, and you throw one of these in like once a month.
It's called the donut.
Yeah, it's like a little donut, and any place you have standing water, you throw one of them in it, and it
It larvicides.
prevents
And
the,
that's part of this mosquito control program, is to actually do that in the wetlands across the Cape, to go and do larvicide.
They used to dip down into storm sewers and see if there was standing water, like in the street. You have a storm sewer. If you look down there, sometimes it holds water.
Yep.
And the mosquito control people would lower down a ladle, and they would bring it up, and they would look to see whether there was any larvae. So over a course of years, they build their surveillance system, and then they can identify on a big map all of the locations that they have previously established as supporting reproduction of mosquitoes. And then that guides them every year and strategically where to go.
Yep, and I'm sure it's similar
But
here
I know
in Massachusetts.
these viruses, they build over the course of the summer.
Yep,
So if you're going to get human cases, you're going to get them late in the summer.
Yes.
Because that's when the greatest risk of viral infections occur.
Well, that brings up a question. What happens in the winter here when these mosquitoes die off and go away? Does this whole thing go away? Does it come back again next summer? You had mentioned that there are other things that can carry the virus besides mosquitoes, so it can stay around.
I think there's a whole a life cycle with the birds and the mosquitoes and,
There's plenty for the people that work in the program to do off-season.
All year round, yeah.
Because they've got to,
so the larvicide is part of it and.
they got to
yeah.
redo all their equipment, they got to calibrate, they have to do mapping, they have to write reports. I mean, it's a whole lot of work that they catch up on over the winter.
Well, I think the spraying in Plymouth is what brought it into the news and to a lot of people's attention, so this was
And they don't
helpful,
like
but-
the spray.
Yep, so we can decide or think about whether we have someone come back who who actually does it to talk more, or we can wait and see how this goes, and then if it comes up again, we can get them back. We can pull that out as an option maybe. Okay.
right.
Anything from the public on Triple E? And if not, we can move on to any old business. I know that the short-term, Karen Shimwaza, who was here, I think at the next meeting is going to give a follow-up on the short-term rental implementation over the summer and what happened and where we're at and, you know, problems, what went well, what didn't go well, and it's a time for the board members to ask her about all that because it's an ongoing regulation, I think. Any other old business or correspondence, Judy, for us to know about?
Just minutes.
And we have minutes. So we have minutes from August 19th. Any additions or corrections? And if not, can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion, we approve the draft minutes of August 19th, 2024.
I'll second the motion.
And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay, so those minutes are approved. And then, if there's nothing else, we can go ahead and adjourn the meeting, I think. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So move?
I'll second that.
Okay, and all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right,
I'm in
we are
favor of saying
adjourned.
aye.
Turn off your mics.